So let's first discuss the symbols that you will find in inequalities. This symbol is the less than symbol, and as you see, it opens from the left to the right. It means the expression on the left side is smaller than the expression on the right side. So this is a little easier to see when we have just a single digit on either side. The number 5 is smaller than the number 7. We can also have negative values in an inequality. Negative 7 is smaller than negative 5. So again, as you see, the larger value goes on the side that is open, and the smaller value goes on the side that is closed. We can also have a variable. So here we have x is less than negative 5. So x doesn't have a single value, but it has a range of values, all values smaller than negative 5. So negative 5.1, negative 6, negative 7, and so forth, all of these values would work. This would be an example that would not work because 5 is larger than negative 5. So this is not a situation where the less than symbol would be allowed. The less than symbol also can have a line under it, and that turns it to the less than or equal to symbol. The expression on the left side is the same value or a smaller value than the expression on the right side. So in this first case, we see that 13 is equal to 13. So this is a true statement. 10 is less than 13. So this is also a statement that we can use with the less than or equal to. This is true. And just like the less than, we can have a variable in less than or equal to. So x can be 13, 12, 11, 10, so on and so forth. But it cannot be 14, 15, or anything larger, such as 23. Now, if we turn the less than symbol around, and now we have the open side on the left side, this changes it to the greater than symbol. Greater than is the symbol that closes from left to right. It means the expression on the left side is larger than the expression on the right side. So here we see 13 is larger than 10, so this statement is true. 13 is greater than 10. Again, we can have a variable. So x has a range of values starting at anything larger than 10, so 10.1, 11, 12, so on and so forth. But it cannot have a value smaller than 10 on the left side because 9 is not greater than 10. And just like the less than symbol, the greater than symbol, we can draw a line under it, and that turns it to the greater than or equal to symbol. It means the expression on the left side is larger than or equal to the expression on the right side. So this is a true statement. 10 is equal to 10. So 10 is greater than or equal to 10 is true. 15 is greater than 10. So this statement is true. 15 is greater than or equal to 10. And again, you can include a variable. So x has to be 10 or larger in this inequality. And again, we cannot have a smaller value on the left side of this symbol because 7 is not greater than 10. Now, the next thing I'd like to discuss is the number line. The number line has a set of values that increase from left to right. In the middle, we have the number 0. As we move to the left, the values become more and more negative. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and so on. And as you move to the right, the values get larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So a circle is placed on one or both ends of the arrow, and the circle is empty if the value is not included in the expression, and it is filled if the value is included in the expression. So let's dive deeper into this one. Since less than does not include the value on the right side, the circle is empty at that exact value on the number line. So let's say we had x is less than a. A can be just any value. That means since it's less than, the arrow is going to go to the left. The values get smaller. So x is going to be smaller than a. But it is not filled, or it's empty, since it does not equal a. So this would be the number line for x is less than a. And if a were any number, this would be the only difference. We just change a to 7. And now this number line represents x is less than 7. So if you're asked to draw this, you go to the number 7, draw an empty circle, and then draw an arrow to the left side since it is less than. Less than or equal to, since it includes the value on the right side, the circle is filled at that exact value on the number line. So x is less than or equal to a is the same arrow, except the circle is filled instead of empty. And again, if we had a number instead of a, let's say we had x is less than or equal to 13, you fill a circle above 13 on the number line, and then you draw an arrow to the left. And this lets you know that the expression has a value of 13 or anything smaller than. The arrow means that it goes on indefinitely. And if there's a specific endpoint, that's when you would have a second circle to represent the smallest value. Let's turn the arrow around and discuss greater than. Since greater than does not include the value on the right side, the circle is empty at that exact value on the number line. So you go to whatever value is on the right side, draw an empty circle above it, and since x is greater than m, the arrow goes to the right. If m is an actual number, let's say -5, you would go to -5 on the number line, draw an empty circle, and then draw an arrow to the right. If x is greater than or equal to the value on the right side, the circle is filled at that exact value on the number line. So you fill in a circle above the value on the right, and then you draw an arrow going towards the right side of the number line. X is greater than or equal to -7. You go to -7 along the number line, draw a filled in circle, and then draw your arrow to the right. Let's have you do a little bit of practice. Draw an arrow to represent each inequality. Question number 1, x is greater than 6. Question number 2, x is less than or equal to -2. Question number 3, x is greater than or equal to 5. And question number 4, 3 is greater than x. Pause the video, solve these questions, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Okay, let's take a look at how to draw the number line for question number 1. You were given x is greater than 6. So step 1, place an empty circle above 6 on the number line. It is empty because x cannot equal 6, but it is greater than. So since it is greater than, and the number line increases towards the right, step 2 is you draw an arrow to the right of the empty circle. And this would be how you represent this inequality. This would be your answer. Question number 2, x is less than or equal to -2. So step 1, you place a filled circle above -2 on the number line. And since it is less than, step 2, you draw an arrow to the left of the circle. So this would be your answer to question number 2. Question number 3, you were given x is greater than or equal to 5. Since it is greater than or equal to, step 1 is you placed a filled circle above 5 on the number line. And step 2, since we were discussing greater than, the arrow that we draw goes to the right of the circle. So this would be your answer to question number 3. Then lastly, question number 4. This one was written with our numerical value on the left side and our variable on the right side. So step 1, we want to reverse how this is written. If we take a look, this is the same as x is less than 3. The closed side is on the side of x. So if we turn this around, if we reverse it, and we move x to this side and 3 to this side, which means we also have to reverse the symbol, we wind up with x is less than 3. So then step 2, we place an empty circle above 3 on the number line, since it is not equal to. And since it is less than, we draw an arrow to the left of the circle. So this would be your answer to question number 4. Now I'm going to give you some number lines, and I want you to write the inequality that they represent. So question number 1, we have a filled circle here. Question number 2, we have a filled circle with an arrow to the right here. Question number 3, we have an empty circle with an arrow to the left here. And question number 4, we have a filled circle with an arrow to the right here. Pause the video, write the inequality for each of these, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Okay, so for question number 1, we had a filled circle above -2 on our number line. If you're given the number line and you need to write the expression for it, the first thing you want to do is draw a dotted line from the circle down to the number line. This way you can establish what the value is at that circle. You then want to determine if the circle was filled or empty, and we see that it's filled. So we see in this case, x is equal to, since there's no arrow, it's at this exact value, x is equal to -2. Again, since it's filled, we know that it includes this value it's equal to. There's no arrow going to the left or to the right, so it's not less than or greater than. It's just equal to this exact value. Question number 2. We were given a circle filled with an arrow to the right. So step 1, draw a dotted line from the circle down to the number line. This establishes that our value can be equal to c. And then step 2, determine if the circle is filled or empty. So x can equal c. And then step 3, determine which direction the arrow is pointing. So since it is going to the right, that means that x is equal to or greater than c, or x is greater than or equal to c. All right, so this would be the answer to question number 2. Question number 3, we have an empty circle above 2. Step 1, you draw a dotted line down from the circle to the number line. We see that the expression ends at +2. In step 2, we see the circle is empty, so it is not going to include this value. And then step 3, determine which direction the arrow is pointing. So we see that it is less than 2. So the answer is x is less than 2. And then question number 4. Step 1, draw a dotted line from the circle down to the number line. So we see it's at 1. Step 2, determine if the circle is empty or filled. So we see it's filled. So it does include +1 in the expression. And then step 3, we determine that the arrow is moving to the right, or the greater than side. So the answer is x is greater than or equal to +1.